This topic in ALEKS is called the distributive property for integer coefficients. And what I think it means in the ALEKS idea of things is let's just throw negative signs everywhere until they give up in frustration. That's the bottom line. Honestly, you'll hear me probably say this too many times throughout this entire video that you just got to watch your signs. I'm going to start off with something easy-ish because you won't see this in this particular ALEKS topic, but the distributive property in general is a way to get rid of parentheses, and you do it by multiplying through. The reason why we have to distribute that way is because normally if we just had numbers, we would combine whatever is inside the parentheses. But you all know now that you're taking algebra that you can't combine x plus 1. The x has an x, the 1 does not, so they can't add. They could multiply, but they can't add. So what we're doing now to get rid of the parentheses is we're taking the negative 8 and we're multiplying it by the x. That gives us negative 8x. I'm bringing this plus sign over, and then I have the negative 8 times the positive 1, and that's going to give me negative 8. You can leave the problem like this, or your answer actually, or if you want another way to write it, some textbooks consider this more correct. You can change the plus and negative to minus, but these two things are exactly the same. Alright, now let's take a little bit more of an uglier one, something like this that you'll see in ALEKS. And we got all kinds of letters and negatives going on. So let's just take it slow. Look at me getting snazzy. I'm using red now. Same deal. We're going to take this negative 8. This time we're going to multiply it by 3 things. Okay, when we take the negative 8 times the negative 3, remember that when you multiply two negatives, it's going to be a positive 24. So that's going to be that product. Next step is to do the negative 8, and what I'm going to do is I'm bringing this minus sign down here, and the negative 8 times the w is going to give me a negative 8w. Alright, notice I have minus and negative now. So again, you've been in algebra, you should know, hopefully you're feeling comfortable about adding and subtracting things. When you have minus and negative, boop boop, they cancel each other out into plus or positive. Next one is the negative 8 times the positive 1. I'm bringing this plus sign down first, and that's going to be a negative 8. And there you go. What ALEKS might not like is this same thing that I said up here, using this plus or minus. So if they want you to rewrite it, it would be this, and then you would have minusing an 8. I'm not sure, I haven't been on ALEKS in a little while, so I'm not sure how nitpicky they are, but if my memory serves right, they're not going to want you to put plus and negative 8. So that is how you would change it. Alright, let's do another one. Alright, let's see how this goes. I just did this video and then I realized halfway through at some point my wrist hit the stop button. But I didn't know that. Alright, so let's see if I can pick up where I left off. Second example, let's do negative 5. And on the inside, negative 3u squared minus 3 plus 4y squared. Same idea, we're going to multiply each of the terms inside the parentheses by the negative 5. Slow down, take your time, there's no rush here. So for the first part, negative 5 times negative 3, when I write it off to the side, it really becomes clear to me that that's a positive 15. The u cubed does not change. I'm bringing down our subtraction sign, and then I am doing the negative 5 times a positive 3, which is going to give me a negative 15. Minus a negative, boop, boop, turns to plus a positive. Bringing down the plus sign. And now I'm doing a negative 5 times a positive 4, which I know is going to be a negative 20. And the y squareds just get tacked on. The way that ALEKS wants you to write this out, they don't want two plus signs there, obviously. And when you have plus a negative number, it's the same thing as subtracting a negative number. And they're going to want you to realize that. So if you have plus a negative 20, it is the same thing as negative 20, or minus 20. Sorry about that. Same deal. Alright, you might already know that, but some people kind of like putting the pieces together, because algebra isn't always very obvious. So that is how you would type that in. Alright, let's try another. Feeling brave, I would suggest doing this one. Copying it down, hitting pause, and doing it on your own, and then checking the answer, seeing if we match. Alright, cool. Alright, same deal. Multiplying everything inside by the negative 8 on the outside. So negative 8 times positive 2, that will give you a negative 16w. Bringing that subtraction sign down, and then we're doing a negative 8 times a 3v, and that's a negative 24v. Boop, boop. And then the last one, first I bring down the subtraction sign. Negative 8 times a positive 6. Boop, boop. And how would we type it in for ALEKS? 1 plus sign there, and 1 plus sign there. If I have you still listening to this and you're still kind of wondering about something, some people will do this. Let's say we have that, there's no, so that's fine. But when they go to do this, some people will say, well, isn't it the same thing as negative 8 times a negative 3, so it will be positive? And that is absolutely the correct way to look at it. Notice how we have the same answer from above and the way I just did it here. And the same thing, they'd say a negative 8 times a negative 6 would give me a positive 48. So that's totally, totally legit. Absolutely. And again, like I said, these two methods are exactly the same. So however you were taught it or however you want to remember it, that's totally up to you. I'm going to do one more if you're feeling like you want practice. Again, what I would do, oh, and this is a weird one too. They just throw a negative sign out there. Alright. Best way I think to handle this in my book is to put a 1 there. It's completely legit. You're taking a negative 1 and you're multiplying that through. It does the same thing as just having that negative sign out in front. And it's a lot more concrete to see. So a negative 1 times a negative 4v, that's going to turn positive. Bringing down the subtraction sign, now we have a negative 1 times 3x. So that gives us a negative 3x, but boop, boop. Are you annoyed by when I do that yet? Next one, bring the plus sign down, negative 1 times a positive 4. To put this in a correct format, minus 4, and we're all set, and that would be your answer. Alright, hope it helped.